Good Lord. How you doing? I'm JD Simo, coming to you from my basement, what some call the House of Grease. It's been months and months and months. Happy 4th of July. Having a lovely chill day with my family, with my daughter, my 6-year-old daughter, and my wife, and just figured I'd come down here and screw around because I just got this yesterday. This arrived from Spain. This is it's a Nacho caster, or a Nacho guitar. I met Nacho a few months ago, several months, well, I think it was February or March. I met him, Brad Paisley had a little party at his house, and my buddy Zach called me and said, Zach called me. You all know Zach Childs from Ask Zach. Was one of my best friends in my whole life. Anyway, he and Brad are really tight, and he called me or texted me and said, we're having a party tonight, come on over. So I went down to Brad's house, and it was an incredible party. I think Zach posted about it. But it was Vince Canetto, one of the original builders from the custom shop, and my dear friend Joe Glazier, and the best luthier, legendary repairman, guitar guru. Anyway, he was there as well, which was cool. And Zach and Brad and Nacho Banos, the Blackguard Telecaster King. He, for those who don't know, he wrote the book on Telecasters. He wrote the Blackguard book, which I never had. I'd seen copies of it back in the day, but then in recent years he released the Pinecaster book, which is a volume of 4, I think it's 4 or 5. I have one, actually. I have a corresponding copy of the Pinecaster book with the same serial number as this guitar, which happens to be my daughter's birthday, which was really cool. That both are numbered there, something for when she's older she can notice, Anyway, and that it has all the info that was in the Blackguard book, but then several more volumes. And anyway, he's made crazy accurate replicas of 50s guitars for years now. And the first person, I guess Red Volkart is probably the first person I ever saw with one. And several other guys in the sort of upper echelon Telecaster dudes, that everybody knows. I know Bill Frisell got one, and Julian Lage has played one for several years now. And a couple of years ago, my good friend James Pennebaker, who's a monstrously incredible guitar player and amazing multi-instrumentalist, and a very dear friend, him and his wife, he got one fairly recently, within the last few years, and I didn't know it was a Nacho first. I saw him play on the Delbert McClinton cruise that I tend to do every year with a bunch of my buddies. And I didn't know what it was initially. I don't think I knew. I'm pretty sure I didn't know that it was a Nacho. I just heard him play a couple of times, and I told him, I was like, that is an amazing sounding instrument, whatever that is. Like, what is that? And he's like, it's a Nacho. And I was like, huh. Because, I mean, his is like heads and tails above anything I'd ever heard. That wasn't old, you know what I mean? So anyway, long story longer, I met Nacho, and I was like, man, I would be honored to be able to get a guitar, because he makes guitars in batches, and they're not the easiest thing to track down in the world. But he had one of his that he'd made at Brad's house, and actually I invited my friend Dave Cobb, the great producer I play in sessions for all the time, my captain, who's also now the head of Universal, which is just crazy. But he came over too. He came over later. I said, man, we're nerding out. You should come. And so he and I both like heard the guitar that Nacho had made, and we were like, I gotta have one. Like, that is just crazy. So Nacho was gracious enough to bestow me the honor. And I gotta say, man, this thing's like a tuning fork. Like, the notes just hang forever, and it's really pure. Like, I play a lot of old guitars in my life. Had several, and this is just like an old guitar. It is exactly like, if I didn't know what this was, I would be like, this is a great old Blackguard that like is refretted and plays perfect. And I just can't. I'm kind of astounded, because I don't have tons of instruments. I usually hover around 9 or 10 guitars, which is not a lot for people in my line of work. Mostly because I'm pretty monogamous. I'll play 1, 2 instruments, 3, and then the rest are sort of utility. And all the guitars I have are fantastic. I mean, that's why I have them. But this is on another level. And it's just crazy. So, but it's just really, like, the note just, like, it just hangs. It doesn't go anywhere, And I'm playing quiet. Like, that's the thing. Because, like, when you crank it up and you get, like, feedback and stuff, it almost, I mean, yes, it's important. But when you can get something to ring like that when it's clean, that's just nuts, man. And it just sounds, it's sweet, like, it's not hard. A tuning fork. And the other thing to keep in mind is, like, this was just completed. This is essentially the worst it will ever sound, because it's like, as I use it and it like really breaks in, it'll get even better, so that's just crazy. So he makes pretty much everything. There's some voodoo, with like, these are his pickups that he made. They're not, and most of the parts he machines and makes himself. I think, like, maybe the tuners he doesn't make, and that's like maybe one of the only things. And he has this secret supply of like old wood that he at least makes the bodies of, I guess, or something. I really don't know, but just absolutely astounding. So anyway, you'll be seeing me with this a lot. This is kind of my new favorite. So anyway, some other, just to catch you up really quick, I went out, I did about a month of dates with Chris Isaak, which was a blast, and I'm just about to leave next week and do another summer tour playing with him. And my old friend Chris Powell from the Dave Cobb rhythm section is playing drums, and our good friend Mike Webb is playing keyboards. And it's a wonderful band, and we laugh. We get up and we just laugh from the time we wake up to the time we go to bed. It's a great group, and Chris is such a gentleman and so talented, and it's just really a fun time. So I some of you came up and said hi to me during the last tour. It's a great show, and we're going to keep the band together. and there's talk of going to Europe. Well, it's not just talk. We are, they're planning a European thing, a big, long European thing next year, and looks like we're probably going to make a new record for Chris, and that's a lot of fun. So I did that, and then I went from there to Chicago to do a private like jazz conservatory thing, which was a great fun. And also I was able to have a little vacation with my family. My daughter and my wife came up, and we went to a Cubs game and took them all over, because I was born and raised there, and it was really, really, really cathartic and beautiful. Saw some dear family up there, and it was a really good time. And then I went out for a couple weeks playing in duo format with my man Adam Abrashoff. We did about 2.5 weeks of shows with our friend Tab Benoit from Houma, Louisiana, and that was a freaking blast too. His band, our friend Chip, who's from Austin, Texas, was playing drums, and his longtime bass player Corey, and we've done like 100 shows together, I think, or if we haven't done 100, we're closing in on 100, or just past it. We've just done tons of shows, and we all get along, and me and Tab smoke cigars and hang out, and it's just a really good time. So that was really fun. And then I finally got home after like nearly just about 2 months of traveling constantly. I got home about a week and a half ago, and I've done just a couple of sessions. I just keeping it light because I was pretty burnt when I got home. And but the last couple of weeks I've done a handful of things with my friend Tal Wilkenfeld, one of the greatest bass players on the planet. You know her from her time with Jeff Beck and Herbie Hancock and Wayne Krantz, and just in Chick Corea and on down the line. She's a very close friend and has been for a couple of years now. We've worked together on and off for the last couple of years, and anyway, we've sort of chipping away at putting a band together, and I think we pretty much have one in place. And we're going to try and do some stuff in the fall, because unfortunately I don't have time between now and then. But nonetheless, look forward to that, because she's a total force of nature, and I love playing music with her, and she's a very dear personal friend of my family. She's become a member of our family, kind of. And I love you, Tal. So anyway, so yeah, got a week left, and at home, and we are I'm heading back out with Chris for a long one, about 5 weeks, where we're basically going all over the country. Like, we're starting in California, but then like working our way through the Southwest and Texas and to Florida and all along the Eastern Seaboard. And then we finish here at the Ryman, the last show, not a bad last show, in August. And then I'll go right back to doing shows with Luther, Dickinson, and Adam. More Do the Rump shows. We've got 3 in the Northeast. This is end of August. We're doing Sellersville Theater, I know, outside of Philadelphia, and there's 1 or 2 more. So check the website, because those shows, it's hard because it's like corralling cats, getting Luther and I our schedules to line up. But do buy tickets to those shows, because those are so much fun. And then we're doing a couple festivals. We're doing Telluride in September, and then we're doing the big blues bender in Las Vegas. We'll be there for, I think, a day playing that festival. So anyway, and there's a bunch of records in between, and I'll have some stuff put together here relatively soon when I have a chance, because we got a couple of projects that are burning a hole on my hard drive, ready to be released and such. I just realized I'm wearing my Jesse Ed Davis shirt. When we were on tour with Chris, we played in Tulsa, and we had a day off, and me and Chris Powell and Mike Webb went. They actually opened the Bob Dylan Center for us to go in and take a private tour, and the entire second floor was this huge exhibit to Jesse Ed Davis. And I'm a massive hero, a massive hero. I'm a massive fan. There's a new book that came out this year that is fantastic that my buddy Zach gave me, and I've been on a big kick of his lately. And you know, if you aren't familiar, like, he played with Taj Mahal on the first several records, which everybody talks about the first record, and I love that record. It's great. It has the original version of Statesboro Blues. Well, not the original, but what Dwayne Allman heard and wanted to play slide guitar, that's it. And you hear that, like, the Allman Brothers basically did it like note for note. Like, the tones are different. Jesse played an old 50s Telecaster and was relatively clean and funky, but the whole you know, like, that kind of thing, Jesse's already playing it, you know. So but the next record, Natural Blues, is probably my favorite. It has a version of She Cupped to Katie, which is funky and cool. Not what bar bands have done to it after the fact, but that original one is pretty damn great. And then the next record, Giant Step, which I've kind of gotten away, like, pedal-wise, I'm basically back to nothing, practically. I'm kind of over wah-wah pedal and fuzz at the moment. So I'm just using reverb and tremolo on my Headstrong Princeton. I've got two out with Chris. I've got my main one right here that I record with all the time. I've got other amps. There's one of his deluxe reverbs right behind me, and I've got a few other things, but it's all I use. It's Telecaster and a Princeton, and that's basically it, with a 12 in it. But I've been messing around with this Lex pedal from Strymon, you know. Because Jesse loved to use rotating speaker, in those days a Fender Vibertone, and this thing sounds really good. So I've avoided the rotary sound for 20 years, and then now that I'm, like, deep into Jesse Davis, and also, like, he influenced Robbie Robertson a lot, but so Robbie, you know, like, he used it with the band. He used it famously on the opening track of Big Pink, which I sort of played a little bit of, even though I didn't play it for note for note. But he used a Trainer, a Canadian company, this rotating thing that David Gilmour also used one of those later on. And I know, I don't know if my friend Book still has one, but Tom Bukovac, but I know he had one. Several of my friends have had them. I've never had them because it's just too much to fool with. But this thing sounds really good. So I've been using just this, and I also have a Kingsley Minstrel, which is another thing I stole from James Pennebaker, which I usually use it when I'm playing slide, but this guitar is so, like, it just hangs so much that, I don't know, I might even stop using that. So I'm as simple as it gets. So anyway, this video is getting too long. But nonetheless, I'll try and do better and catch up with you more while I'm out on this next tour. But anyway, Nacho, unbelievable. Yeah, see you out there. And much love and peace. And I hope you all are well. Happy 4th of July. Don't spend too much on fireworks, okay? See you soon.